Everyone, and welcome back to another video. So, Nethershards, one of the most useful currencies in patch 7.2. They can buy a range of gear tokens and as well some vanity items. Today I'm going to be covering how to farm these items effectively. Now, in the first hours of the patch, the Tomb of Sargeras elite spot was the fastest, netting between 2,000 and 5,000 an hour. Pretty awesome, but it's since been nerfed. Today I'm going to be covering which method is the best, Tomb of Sargeras or Centenax portal farming, and how to farm both methods effectively. We're going to first start off at the Tomb of Sargeras. My test was 31 minutes long, and we were lucky enough to have a very effective group and, more importantly, an uncontested farming spot. I earned 834 Nethershards during this time, including 100 from the single solitary nether shunk that I actually got. I also picked up 3 Dauntless tokens from the mobs that I killed. I then attempted to farm the Centenax portal area again. Now, I was lucky enough to, once more, find an effective group with a relatively uncontested area. Centenax mobs, I believe, only tap to 5 individuals. Well, I mean, all mobs are doing that, so being in a party is essential. Now, over a total of 37 minutes, I got a mere 448 shards. This is due to how the Centenax mini-bosses work. These are large mobs, kind of like rares. The beacons that call them in are pretty common. I'd say every 10 minutes of farming will generally result in someone getting one of them. Now, there are 2 downsides with these mini-bosses. First, they don't have a massive amount of nether shards. I was getting like an average of like 30 and 50, so that's not great. The second problem, though, is they cause the Centenax ship to go on cooldown, which withdraws all portals and makes beacons unusable for around 5 minutes. So including the downtime, I was looking at like 12 nether shards per minute, which sucked. Now, it isn't like we were going inefficiently. We often had 2 portals open that were close to each other, and the other issue here is that this method doesn't really scale up with, large numbers of players because the mobs will eventually, of course, just go grey. Now, if I were to remove all of the time spent waiting, magically, then the nether shards per minute would still be a paltry 19.5. And that is just not that great in the scheme of things. Now, that said, Blizzard's intent here does seem to be that we farm via the Centenax beacon system. Why do I say that? Well, it's clearly where they put the game design work. So I will cover how to farm both of them effectively in this video. Check the pinned comment. I'll make a note there if Blizzard have further buffed the Centenax farm or nerfed the Tomb of Sargeras one even more. Let's begin with the tomb. You want to stand where my group was. This way, there will be mobs spawning in on both sides of your location. This is a forced spawn location, and what that means is that the faster you kill mobs, the faster they will spawn in. The ideal setup is to have a group of 5 people. You then want 2 ranged characters on either side of that group. Those 2 ranged people are going to be pulling every mob they see into the main group, and everyone just sort of nukes them down in the middle. You will have an endless supply of stuff to kill with this method, which is pretty awesome. Even though the drop nether shards, of course, were nerfed, the sheer quantity of mobs killed makes this the fastest. Also, you do want to pull in the Felguard mobs that are fighting the NPCs in the entrance to that sort of Tomb of Sargeras area. Now, next, the Centenax. So you cannot choose where the ship is, so you'll just need to learn the area that it's above. What you want to do is get your group of 5, head over there, and what you ideally want to manage is to find a place where there are 2 portal spawns such that the ranged members of your group will be able to pull in mobs from both portals, then just nuke them all down. This will yield in better results than a single portal location, although you won't always be able to do this if you're on a busy server and there is indeed some heavy competition. Now, speaking of servers, be sure to use the pre-made group finder to do all of this farming stuff. That's by far the best way to do it, and it's a hell of a lot faster than doing any of this on your own, which would be not very good. Now, my personal suspicion here is that the Centenax spot will be heavily buffed soon enough, making it the ideal way to do things over the Tomb of Sargeras farming spot. As I said, it's the farming method that has the game design behind it, so it seems like Blizzard are going to ultimately go that way because they've done all that work with the beacons, and that just seems to be their overall intent. Now, past these, there are some other ways to get nether shards. The first kill of each Broken Shore world, rare mob of the day, seems to drop between 50 and 100, as well as some Legion Fall resources. So kill those mobs, and yeah, that's good. Now, those Legion Fall resources, you want those from the world quests and the rare mobs, because turning these in for the construction loot will give you 75 Nethershards. Now, the loot bag you also get for that turn-in is legendary eligible, so you'll want to be doing that anyway. Now, Legion invasions are another good way to get Nethershards, and they'll open up on the 4th of April. They are meant to be a pretty time-efficient way of doing things, but maybe a little bit more rare in that they don't spawn all the time. We'll need to see the final spawn rate on live, but the world quests involved do reward Nethershards, and the final scenario at the end will give you 250, at least it did on the PTR. So currently farming Nethershards for Dauntless tokens is an okay idea, though there are faster ways of gearing up your characters. Farming them for relinquished gear does seem like a pretty dire state of affairs, given the time investment that would just be spent mob grinding, although I do understand that if you want a chance of the legendaries or the raid or world boss gear that can be within those relentless tokens, or relinquished tokens, it might be worth doing. That said, if you're purely there for the legendaries, I mean, if you care that much about the legendary and there's still one that you want to get, chances are, because of the duplicate protection, you're probably just better off chain farming mythics or something like that. Now, that's the solution for Nethershards for now. I'm sure we're going to have quite a few hot fixes as time goes on. It seems like this patch has had a bit more of a buggy release than most ones normally do, so hopefully the methods in this video will show you how to farm either spot effectively when, you know, you actually want to, and depending on whatever hot fixes or changes the Blizzard actually decide to implement. So that's it for this video, a quick overview of the Nethershard situation at the launch of this patch. I hope you find it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.